Hello, everyone. Thanks for making the time to join us this evening. My name is Michael. I'm the events coordinator and publicist at Annie Bloom's Books. For those of you who aren't familiar with the store, we're located in Portland, Oregon, in the heart of Multnomah Village. We've been around for 42 years now, and we are still going strong. Our store is open to in-store browsing. Masks are still required, of course, as there are throughout all of Oregon and indoor spaces. We're open weekdays from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and weekends from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Our website is always open. It's www.annieblooms.com. You can shop there day and night. We offer curbside pickup, in-store pickup, local delivery within 3 miles of the store, and a couple of different shipping options. If you go to that website, the first place you'll want to go to is this one that I'm going to pop in the chat, which is to get Stephen Cohen's book. He's going to be able to come in the next couple of days and sign the book. So if you have anything you want inscribed in there, please go ahead and leave that in the comments section. After the reading, there's going to be a Q&A, so you can feel free to type questions into the chat there, and I'll be happy to read them to Stephen. Or you can pop up on screen and go ahead and ask the questions live. Let me tell you about Stephen's book, Baggy Red Pants and Other Stories. Multifaceted artist, three-hand Stephen Cohen, uses his art, short stories, poems, song lyrics, illustrations, and photos of his homemade original sculptures, instruments, and jewelry, all to tell poetic and emotional stories that will stay with you. Stephen Cohen is a writer, performer, recording, visual artist, and singer-songwriter who lives in Lake Oswego. Stephen Cohen.
Okay. All right, good to see you. If you have any friends that couldn't make it, this is going to be taped, and I'll send out a YouTube link probably tomorrow. So this will be up in forever, and anybody who couldn't make it can watch it on YouTube. So I'm going to read some stories, some poems, and some lyrics, and so I'm going to start off with the title piece, which is Baggy Red Pants. Baggy red pants. We arrived in Santa Fe in those hitchhiking days. I was wearing baggy red pants that my girlfriend had made. Baggy, baggy, homemade baggy. Baggy, baggy, baggy red pants. I needed some guitar strings, so I found a local music store. I was wearing those baggy red pants as I walked out the door. Into the plaza, where a tall, bespectacled Englishman approached by chance. He said, "I'm producing a movie. Would you like to be in it? Meet me tomorrow and wear those red pants. Baggy, baggy, homemade baggy. Baggy, baggy, baggy red pants." We slept in an alley that night. In the morning, we met the cast and crew at a plaza hotel. We boarded a charter bus to go film a rock musical based on Shakespeare's Othello. The producer was impresario Jack Good. The movie was called Catch My Soul. The set was a fake hippie commune in the desert hills, 10 miles up the road. Baggy, baggy, homemade baggy. Baggy, baggy, baggy red pants. I worked as an extra in that movie every day for 2 months. I wore those red pants. One night they brought in 100 local hipsters for a party scene that turned into a stoned, chaotic dance. Baggy, baggy, homemade baggy. Baggy, baggy, baggy red pants. Catch My Soul opened in New York City, got some bad reviews, and quickly disappeared. It stayed lost for 42 years, but then reappeared. I did other work for Jack Good, a good guy who died last year. As for the pants, we threw them in the fire and watched the ashes float into the mountain air. Baggy, baggy, homemade baggy, 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 baggy red pants. And I'd like to thank Kristen Summers, who's here, who has Wake Robin Press, which put out this book, and she and Wake Robin Press did a great job with it. I'm really happy the way it came out. So this is called A Hitchhiker's Tale. A Volkswagen bus full of freaks was definitely the best thing for a young hitchhiker to see coming his way in the summer of '72. A pickup with an older couple of pig farmers in Colorado could also be good. Such a couple picked me up, took me to their farm, introduced me to their pigs, cooked me dinner, and put me up for the night. The only thing they asked in exchange was conversation, so they could hear what the young people these days are thinking. A huge long-haul truck with a lone driver could also be promising. Such a driver could take you a long, long way, maybe even to New Orleans and Mardi Gras, as that trucker who picked me up in Texas did. I don't know why he let the Grand Funk Railroad tape on his 8-track play over and over again for hours, coming around again and again to the song I'm Getting Closer to My Home. Maybe it had something to do with the endless supply of marijuana in his curtained cab. But there I was, standing on an Arizona highway with my guitar, backpack, and sleeping bag, and a Volkswagen bus full of freaks. Sure looked good. And it figured, because on the road, good would often follow bad. Good followed bad on the Coast Highway near Malibu. A middle-aged, casually dressed man picked me up in his camper, and after a few miles of silence, he pulled into a cutaway by the beach. He said we would be taking a break, then got out, took out a gun, and started shooting indiscriminately into the twilight air. There was movement among the scattered groups of people on the beach. A sandy-haired young man approached me and said, "Let's get out of here." I quickly joined a group of surfers in a funky band, speeding away from the mystery shooter, winding through the coastal night until we arrived at a secluded cove. I joined my new friends in a wonderful cookout by a campfire, then slept on the beach to the sound of the waves crashing on the shore. Good followed bad in a crazy game of tag through the Canadian plains on a northern hitchhiking trip with a girlfriend. A souped-up sedan driven by a dark-haired, stone-eyed man swerved right at us in an obvious attempt to either hit or scare us. Scare us it did, and while we were wondering if he was coming back for more, a Royal Canadian mounted police car approached. The officer didn't check out our ID or kick us off the highway as his United States counterparts would often do. He merely offered us a ride and gave us a smooth, friendly passage to the next province. Things turned bad again in that next province as a cloud of black flies filled the sky and descended upon us. Cars drove by as if we were invisible, just when we thought we would be eaten alive by the tiny biting insects. The sweetest couple pulled up in a station wagon and offered us a night's lodging in exchange for a song on my guitar. Safe inside a cozy house somewhere in the middle of Canada, I played the sweetest song I could for that couple and their wide-eyed baby. Later on down the road, we ran out of money. We were miles away from our destination, tired and hungry, and things looked bad. Suddenly, a man on a motorcycle appeared, as if in a vision. He was wearing a white jumpsuit with red trim and a matching helmet. He stopped and handed us each a $20 bill, and then rode off into the hills. And now good and bad were at it again, chasing each other down the desert highway. I had slept in the brush overlooking a deep quarry outside of Gallup, New Mexico. I awoke and headed into town, where I was greeted by a trio of winos. They wanted to know my nationality, American man, and invited me to stop and drink wine with them. The oldest, toughest looking one handed me his bottle, but accidentally slipped out of my hands and fell to the sidewalk. I suddenly felt the flash of a switchblade at my neck. I talked fast, apologizing profusely and the switchblade went back into its holder. We shook hands and I took my leave. I had seen enough of Gallup and caught the next available ride out in an old Dodge Dart with an Ohio license plate. 3 men in their early 20s, friends from childhood, were on a cross-country adventure. Good-natured joking mixed with stories of the road as we sped out of New Mexico and into Arizona. But then flashing lights were seen behind us. Those Ohio plates had expired dates, and a patrolman had noticed. He instructed us to follow him to the courthouse in the next town. It was a small town courthouse like in the movies, an old square brick building with an old square jawed judge inside. The judge levied an outrageous fine. One of the travelers paid it, but swore in anger as he started to walk out of the building. A policeman rushed out of an office door and said, "That's contempt of court." The young man was given a choice of either even a more outrageous bail, more than any of us had, or a night in jail. At that point, there was nothing I could do, so I thanked them for the ride and left the courthouse as they discussed what friends or relatives they might call to wire them the money. I stood on the main street and tried to hitchhike out, but a policeman pulled up to tell me that hitchhiking was illegal within the city limits. With guitar in hand, backpack, and sleeping bag on my back, I walked for an hour, as far away as I could. And that is how I ended up on that desert highway at sunset in the summer of '72, with a Volkswagen bus full of freaks heading my way. "Come in. We're going to the Strawberry Canyon Hot Springs. Do you want to come with us?" That sounded good to me. There were 8 people in the bus, 4 of them friends from Minnesota and 4 of them assorted hitchhikers. We went off the main highway, wound through canyons and pinon, pine-spotted hills, and arrived at the hot springs in the dark of night. There was a skinny river with a sandy level area on one side and a rocky cliff on the other. 10 feet up the cliff was a ledge with 2 circular hot spring pools. Further along the ledge were the cracked pink cement ruins of a long abandoned health resort. I climbed up to the ledge and took out my guitar. I touched my fingers to the steel strings, and a freckled-faced, red-haired woman named Ginger, one of the Minnesota contingent, took out an old guitar. One of those special jams that can only happen on the road commenced. We played like we had been playing together for years. A skinny, energetic teenager put together a makeshift drum set out of guitar cases, sticks, and rocks, and played along in perfect rhythm. 2 women started dancing on the ledge's edge, their naked bodies silhouetted by the stars. Later, we let the last notes trail off into the canyon, put our instruments away, and lay in the hot pools for a while. I then jumped into the river below. The night desert air dried my hair as I lay on my sleeping bag in the sand by the river and drifted off to sleep under a canopy of stars. So that's A Hitchhiker's Tale. This is a poem called Postcard, which I made into a postcard. We are inside looking out and outside looking in. It feels like the world is closed until further notice. But the trees are talking, the birds are singing, the stars are shining. Life is open all around us. These are lyrics that I wrote a long time ago, but they came up again with the pandemic and fit perfectly with what was going on in the pandemic and what's still going on. It's called The Closing List. Turn the signs, close the blinds, lock the door. count the till, clean the grill, sweep and mop the floor. Put all the receipts in a drawer. Put the dry goods in a bin. Put the wet goods in the walk-ins. Clean the ovens and the countertops and the silver in the pans and pots. Turn off the dishwashing machine after you get everything restaurant clean. Prepare a statement for the bank. Put the money in the safe. Say goodnight to the help. Thank you. You don't need their help anymore. Take off your restaurant clothes. Move across the restaurant floor. There's no restaurant here anymore. Count the till, clean the grill, sweep and mop the floor, change the signs, shut the blinds, put a padlock on the door. There's no restaurant here anymore, anymore, anymore. And these are lyrics, and it's called Thomas. This has been one of my most popular songs over the years. And I'm always happy to go back to it. Thomas. There was a little boy named Thomas. He was a little bit shy. He would not play with the other kids. He would not look you in the eye. He just recited numbers just as far as he could go. Thomas liked to stage his secret shows. The first time I saw Thomas, it was in a special school. I took him to the music room. He sat down on a stool. He yelled monster at the piano. I yelled danger at the drums. Thomas liked to sing his secret songs. There was a little boy named Thomas. He was a little bit strange. He liked to spin in circles, and he smiled as he sang. He really was intelligent. People called him slow. Thomas liked to stage his special shows. The last time I saw Thomas, he was crying in a yard. A friend of his was leaving, and he always took things hard. I yelled danger at the piano. He yelled monster at the drums. Thomas liked to sing his secret songs. And if the world is not right with Thomas, then something must be wrong. And then in the book, I tell stories with words, but also with pictures. And it's got a section with some of my musical sculptures in it. Including Mr. Bells, Miss Greeter, Sister Seven Strings, and Brother Stephen. And it's got a few pages called King of the One-String Things. I'm the king. I'm the king. I'm the king of the one-string things. I can do the one-string thing. I can make the one-string things sing. And then we have photos of some of my one-string thing instruments. Let's all root for the home team. Let's all root for the home team. It's the only team we know. Go, home team, go. Let's all root for the home team. We've got to win this game. We can't afford another season down the drain. Players run the hardwood floor as quick as they can. To 10,000 voices, noises, the band. Cheerleaders leap, show a silly smile. To the faithful fans, who stand in the aisles. The coach paces down the sideline like a caged beast. Sweat is falling. He is calling. He cannot stand defeat. Outside, the ticket taker looks into the rain. We've got to win this game. Let's all root for the home team. It's the only team we like. Fight, home team, fight. Let's all root for the home team. We've got to win this game. We can't afford another season down the drain. The street is full of people who are shaking their heads. The locker room is quiet like a knife. I guess you know the news. The home team is not supposed to lose. Let's all root for the home team. It's the only team we see. Victory, home team, victory. Let's all root for the home team. We've got to win this game. We can't afford another season down the drain. And for the illustration for this song, another song which I wrote a long time ago, based on games in Eugene by the Oregon Ducks and by the South Eugene Axemen, who both my sons played for. I took a picture before. Well, I didn't take the picture, someone else took the picture. But anyways, there's a picture in here of a game at Lake Oswego down the hill from me. And it turned out that was and if you have the book and you look closely at the picture, you look for me and I'm between those two players in the crowd. And what was notable about that game is that was one of the last high school games played before everything got shut down by the pandemic. So there were no more high school or college games played for a long time after that game. This is called Your Bus is Late. There are reasons why your bus could be late. Ignition, transmission, driver decision, vehicle collision, traffic stopped, traffic cop, detour, wet floor, stuck door, straight up, bridge up, construction, obstruction, long wait. Your bus is late. Baggage roller, baby stroller, fare inspection, accident at intersection, traffic congestion, fire truck, garbage truck, truck stuck, ramp stuck, tow truck, bad luck, long wait. Your bus is late. Crossing kids, icy skids, driver out of chair, police in riot gear, march for peace, crossing geese, ducks in road, dogs in road, horse in road, cow in road, plow in road, snow on ground, passenger down, bikes in lane, freezing rain, passing train, crossing gate, twist of fate, long wait. Your bus is late. And there's also an illustration, a photo I took of a TriMet bus. And of course, during this pandemic times, it says wear your masks on the bus. So I'm going to read one more short story. This is called Mara's Music Festival. It was his custom to travel to and perform at a few music festivals every year. He found it easy to get to and from each festival, but there were a few exceptions. Like when he left a day early from Oregon to drive to a California winter festival over a mountain pass, only to drive into a winter storm, find the pass closed due to monster snowdrifts, and then detour down to the coast to find the coast road closed due to massive mudslides. Or when he had to talk airline personnel at the Barcelona El Prat airport into letting him bring his custom acoustic guitar into the airplane passenger cabin when flying home from a festival in Spain, or when all physical festivals were canceled during the great pandemic, and he could only perform virtually at virtual festivals. But when he was invited to perform on Mars at the Mars Music Festival, well, that opened a whole new bag of travel challenges. He made preparations for a 7-month, 200 million mile journey to Mars, a year-long stay there, and then a long trip back home. There was a lot to do. Pack all his instruments, gear, clothes, books, and such. Make arrangements to be away from home for more than 2 years, and prepare physically, mentally, and emotionally for the experience. When the time came to take off, he felt he was ready as he would ever be. The takeoff was a flaming success, and the spaceship left the Earth's atmosphere without incident. Once in Spain, once not in Spain, I've already been to Spain. Once in space, the ship was bombarded and battered by high energy particles coming from solar flares, but was not damaged, and the rest of the flight was relatively peaceful. The spaceship was occupied by a crew, several musicians and bands, and 50 music fans. 5 other spaceships with similar human cargo left Earth before and after his ship to join 500 human permanent Martian residents at the music festival. His spaceship had a safe landing after the 7-month journey in space. The Mars landscape reminded him of a few places he had been to in his earthly travels, like the Mojave Desert in California, the Sonoran Desert in Arizona, or the lava beds in Oregon, but on a whole different scale. A colorful, durable tent covered the festival grounds, sitting over the Mars terrain like a circus tent on Earth from centuries past. The Mars Music Festival was set up like some of the Earth festivals, with 2 alternating stages facing each other across a field filled with an audience of people sitting, standing, listening, and dancing to the music. A hospitality tent for the performers and festival staff featured fresh food grown in artificially lighted indoor Martian gardens. Red wine produced on Mars was available to everyone attending the festival. A buzz of anticipation could be felt through the crowd. He performed his Martian Music Festival set, which was beamed across the universe. He looked forward to disappearing into the crowd and listening to the rest of the acts, something he always enjoyed doing at festivals. The alien band that followed him was totally unexpected, surprising everyone. Who were they? How did they get there? No one had ever seen or heard anything like it. They were out of this world.
All right.
Okay, I'm going to do one more. I'm going to do one more piece. I'm going to do it on my miniature guitar, and this is called Miniature Planet. Okay, here we go. I saw a miniature planet. Slowly spinning around. I saw a miniature planet. Slowly spinning around. With miniature sights and miniature sounds and miniature cities and miniature towns are miniature people with miniature brains, and miniature cars, and miniature trains. And miniature houses, and miniature planes, and miniature cars with miniature and miniature clouds with miniature rain and miniature rivers and a miniature sea and a miniature forest with miniature trees. I saw a miniature planet slowly spinning around with miniature sights and miniature sounds and miniature cities and miniature towns and miniature people with miniature lives and miniature scenes with miniature thoughts and miniature dreams. I saw a miniature planet slowly spinning around. So I sing this song with my miniature guitar. And here we are.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah, so that should do it. So also in the book, I had a guest artist, Christopher Stoller Hart, did a beautiful illustration to go with those lyrics. That's in the book.
Oh, cool.
All right.
Very nice. If folks have questions, feel free to pop up on screen since there's so few of us, or go ahead and type in the chat if you're in your pajamas and don't want to be seen. And I'll be happy to read from the chat. Anyone?
Somebody's got to have some questions.
Work says, great job from one of your #1 fans.
Okay, thank you, Arch.
All right, so I have a question.
Kristen.
So how did you decide, culling through everything that you've done, how did you decide what was going to go into this book?
That's a good question. Yeah. Well, I wanted to have those stories in there, and then because those stories are part, they're, as people who know me know, that those are part autobiographical. But I wanted the art and the poems and the lyrics. I wanted those to be part of the story. So I wanted to pick things that continue to tell a story. So like in each lyrics, there's a story to be told, and the visual art, each piece of visual art tells a story. I also, since this was created during the pandemic, if something that spoke to the pandemic would get to go in. So yeah, so I
was
think that
wondering-
answers your question. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was wondering, it sounded like you lived in New Mexico for a while. When was that?
What was that?
It sounded like you lived in New Mexico for a while. I was wondering when that was.
That was in 19. I was around 1971, 72.
Cool.
In that, and then I was there for about a year or more, then left, went to lived in Philadelphia for a year, and then went back to New Mexico for three more years, 3 or 4 more years. And that story, the title piece, Baggy Red Pants, is how I arrived in New Mexico. If Jack Good, who's the movie producer and music impresario, if he hadn't saw me in my red pants coming out of a music store, it would have been a whole different life. I wouldn't have stayed in New Mexico. So
Wow.
yeah. And then at that time I was gradually going west. So when I got to, after I left New Mexico, went to Oregon, that's as far west as I could go without going into the ocean. So I stopped here and I've been here ever since. Yeah.
Cool. Nice to see your history woven into the lyrics and stories there.
Yeah.
We were talking about music festivals before the event started, so it's fun to hear that. I think it was the next to the last thing you read about a music festival on Mars, was it, or a different planet somewhere? Yeah,
that was a music festival on Mars.
Yeah.
Which that is actually a pure fiction.
Oh, really?
But but that will happen one day. Maybe
Yeah.
I'll be around to see it.
Cool. Oryx wants to know what you do, Kristen.
What's that?
Oryx wants to know what Kristen does. What does Kristen do?
Oh, so I'm a graphic designer and a publisher. So I put together the book. I took everything that Stephen gave me and put it together.
Nicely done.
Yeah, and me and Kristen go back a long way because she's always been a graphic designer, and then she became a book publisher. But before she was a book publisher, she did graphic designs for a lot of my albums. So I've known her for like 20 years. And when I found out she was a book publisher, I knew that was the place that I wanted to publish the book.
Meant to be. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And I'm truly honored that you came to me with the book, and I'm so excited that I was able to help. And this, just listening to you tonight, I've literally had a smile on my face the entire time. It's just been so fun to see you and hear you, and I'm feeling very nostalgic for Portland and and all the shows that I went to. And yeah, it's neat to see this. It started out with music, and now it's into book form, and I just think it's great because I think you're an amazing artist, and it's fun to see the different ways that you express yourself. And it's just always been very interesting to me, and just to sort of see a little bit how your mind works. I love that. So
yeah, and that's one of the ideas of the book too, was that, and you see this with other artists as they get older, it's they, even the ones that don't talk that much when they're young, as you get older, you want to put everything together, and you want to communicate, what you want to share things with people. So that was part of the idea of the book. And the other way I knew Kristen was she came to several of my concerts, and when she was in Portland. She lives in LeGrand now. And also my son Abe had a band, and will have a band again. And she was a regular at his concerts. Now, his band was called Maggie's Choice, named after his dear departed dog.
Yeah, musical family for sure.
Yeah.
Sounds like it. Cool. Any other comments or questions from anybody?
I know one question that Ben from the East Coast asked me earlier was about a story I didn't read called the Barking Dog at Dr. Livery. And there was a character named Craig there's a character named Craig in that story. And was I Craig? And no, I wasn't Craig, but I have worked some jobs in transportation, and I did work at delivering produce. So it's based on that. Your bus is late. I've always played music, but in addition to music, during my life, you have to do other things, because sometimes you make a lot of money playing music. Sometimes you lose a lot of money, so you have to have something else. So I was a bus driver for TriMet for many years, and so that's where that and there's another story called the Accident Appeals Committee that is based on my experiences at TriMet. Now, all I do is music and art and family. And then you can see the families, as some of my family's here, so.
Nice. Well, when your friend watches the video on YouTube later, he'll have his question already answered.
Yeah.
He can pretend to ask it, and then you'll say, we're calling him, and yeah. Cool. Any final word you want to leave us with, Stephen? Final poem?
Any final word?
Final song on your little guitar?
Let's see. No, I don't think I have any final thing. I'll just play a few notes on the miniature guitar to end it
All
up.
right. Cool. That was a good finale. All right. Well, thanks everyone for showing up. If you haven't already purchased a copy of Baggy Red Pants, or if you want to get it for someone else for a gift, that link is still up there at the top of the chat. We would love to have you buy it from Annie Blooms. As I said, we can deliver it if you live within a few miles of the store. You can pick it up at the store. We can ship it to you or someone else if you like. And Stephen has said he would be happy to come in and sign books in the next couple of days. So feel free to leave a request for that, and we will take care of that. And yeah, the event will be up on YouTube later, and that link will be on the event website or the event page on our website. So there you go. All right. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a really good night. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.